Just like Prabhupada said, this process is so simple, even a child can take part. Not only take part, but lead and dance. Can you tell us something about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? He's Krishna himself. That's different than an expansion of. He's Krishna himself.
Yeah, and um, he has a golden complexion, but he is still Krishna himself.
Very good.
Yeah, and his weapon is the Sankirtana movement and the associates.
Let me ask you one specific question. His complexion is golden.
Mhm.
And what else? He has the duty of Radha, but he also has the bhava of Radha.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe one day you'll learn this nice verse. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritir Ladini Shakti. That's Radharani, right? Ladini Shakti. Asmad. Asmad is although, Asmad. Although these two, Pura Deha Beda Gatauta. Deha means body, and Deha means two. So these two are eternally manifest, although Eka Atma.
Yeah.
Eka means one.
One soul.
Eka Atma. Although one entity, they eternally manifest as two, Radha Krishna.
Yeah.
And then the next verse said, the next half of the verse says, those two have now become one. That is, Hari has become in the mood and the complexion, the Radha Bhava Duti Suvalitam, Naumi Krishna Swarupam. Swarupa, he is the same as Radha Krishna, but in the luster, as you said, golden.
Yeah.
Because that's Radharani, and she's golden. And what's Krishna's color?
He's like in a
Shama.
mood. So.
Shama, blackish. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself in the luster of Radha and the mood of Radha. So we're going to be celebrating Gaura Purnima very soon. Go ahead. But because it also only comes once a year, Mahashiva Ratri, and I don't know how much understanding there is or misunderstanding there is about the position of Lord Shiva. My experience is there's not a lot of understanding and there's more misunderstanding of the position of Lord Shiva. So I thought it'd be a nice topic because it comes before Gaur Purnima, and it was just this past Saturday, to discuss the topic of Lord Shiva. It's a big topic, a really big topic, and I'll invite you, if you want to get confused, you can read Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 6, verse 78. And there you'll find so many different aspects and features of Lord Shiva that your head will spin. I'm not going to read it, but I did this in another place, and I just had to keep saying, and so you can see the tattva of Shiva is very complex. Not easy to understand. Not easy to understand. Not easy to understand Krishna, although Krishna tattva is a little more straightforward. And Shiva Tattva is very complex. He has 8 different abodes. Not just Kailash. That would make it easy. That's his place. That's his place. And there's 7 others. And they're different aspects of Lord Shiva. So I'm not going to go there because it's a little complex. But this evening and 2 days from now, we'll complete part 2. This is, as you see on the screen, hopefully, Lord Shiva's interactions with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in anticipation of Gaura Purnima, and Lord Shiva's interactions with Krishna in Krishna Lila. So by getting a picture of his interactions with these personalities, we can understand something about him. This is a very nice painting. Well, it's chapter 6 of Adi Lila, verse 79. You can, at your own leisure, read it and reach the same conclusion. Very complex. Here's a discussion found in Chaitanya Charitamrita when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is on his South India tour. One of the places he passes through is Sri Shaila. So it's in Tamil Nadu. It's a place that there are Shiva worshippers, but it's described that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passed through this place, just 2 verses, no purport, but a nice painting, he came across a Brahmana couple. But he, Mahaprabhu, understood it wasn't just a Brahmana couple, it was Lord Shiva, who was seated with Durga. And in the background, we see some demigods, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began dancing, seeing Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva, seeing Lord Chaitanya dancing, he started dancing, and they had a dance party. Like this little girl, just dancing very happily. The Brahmana, Lord Shiva, gave alms to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because one's a sannyasi and the other is a Brahmana. And it says specifically they spent 3 days together in a solitary place, discussing very confidentially, and there's no disclosure of those confidential topics. Some of you know from Chaitanya Charitamrita that one of Lord Chaitanya's dearmost devotees was Murari Gupta. So a little bit about Murari Gupta. Murari Gupta was also a Brahmana. By trade, he was a physician. Gupta indicates his trade, profession. And he, Murari Gupta, had deep, deep love for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And their homes, the home where the Jagannath Mishra and Mother Sachi lived, only back from the main road a bit and a little over to the right side was Murari Gupta's home. They lived very close to one another physically. And Murari Gupta was very devoted to Lord Chaitanya. There's a nice pastime where Murari Gupta, in addition to being very devoted to Lord Chaitanya, was a great devotee of Lord Ramachandra and Krishna's, the worshipable deity of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So during his time when Nityananda was with Lord Chaitanya, he came to pay respects to both Nityananda and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Of course, then it wasn't Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it was Nimai Pandit. And he was requested, why don't you chant Krishna's name? Because of his love for Lord Chaitanya, he tried, and he tried, and he tried. He came back the next morning crying, please withdraw that instruction, because I've given my heart to Lord Ramachandra, and I can't stop calling his name. And Lord Chaitanya embraced him, said, you are such a great devotee of the Lord. Yes, you can continue chanting Ram's name. So they had many wonderful pastimes, which are described in Chaitanya Charitamrita, and he wrote a book that includes 8 prayers glorifying Lord Shiva. According to the book, it was glorifying Lord Shiva spoken by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, recorded in his book. So although Vaishnavas worship Krishna or Ramachandra or forms of Vishnu Tattva, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also had a special understanding of the position of Lord Shiva, which we'll hear some more as we're going forward. Well, here's a nice example. Some of you have read Chaitanya Charitamrita, and when Lord Chaitanya was going, after taking sannyas, he was going to visit Puri. When you're going in a southerly direction from Navadvip to Puri, what do you pass through? You have to pass through Bhubaneswar. It's right on the line, on the road, main road. So in Bhubaneswar, what's in Bhubaneswar? Lord Shiva temples all over the place. And it's described, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would embrace the deity and dance and chant, and because he saw Lord Shiva as Vaishnavadam Yata Shambhu. In Chaitanya Bhagavat, some of you know what that book is. It was written, Chaitanya Bhagavat was written before Chaitanya Charitamrita. And when Krishnadas Kaviraj wrote Chaitanya Charitamrita, he expresses the earlier life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is described in great detail, so I won't repeat it. So the early life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is less described than the later life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because it was already described by Vrindavan Das Thakur. According to Gaura Gonadesh Dipika, which is a nice book, it's a who's who. In Gaura Leela, who is this person in Gaura Leela in Krishna Leela? So Vrindavan Das Thakur is Vyasadev in Gaura Leela. So he's way up there in his skill of presenting the narration of Gaura Leela. So in Chaitanya Bhagavat, of course, his style is very different than Vyasadev's. It's very spontaneous. And he doesn't always give explanations. He just spontaneously expresses things. It's really lively and very lovely, and not always a lot of explanation. Now, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur wrote commentary on almost all the verses of Chaitanya Bhagavat. So there's where we get some very profound philosophical explanations. But in the narration, it's meant to be sung, because not everybody was literate, but everyone sings. Bengalis sing, for sure. And so it was sung. It was meant for that kind of a participation. And in Chaitanya Bhagavat, there's a description where one time, as Nimai Pandit, he came across a singer who was singing the glories of Lord Shiva. He was playing on a little din-din drum singing song glorifying Lord Shiva. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very ecstatic. He got up on the shoulders of the Brahmana who was singing the glories of Lord Shiva. And after some time, he realized what he was doing. He got down. And according to Chaitanya Bhagavat, the very next day was when they began the Sankirtan at the home of Srivas. Now, some of you may be newer, so I don't know the audience, so I'm just going to do a little background. But probably everybody here knows, in addition to saying Hare Krishna mantra, we also first recite the Panchatattva mantra. So you can all say it with me. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda. So Srivas in the Panchatattva is one of the five. Pancha means five. And to this side, they're Vishnu Tattva, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita, each different features or expansions of the original Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because this little girl told us that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, right? Yeah. So there's Krishna himself, and there's the expansion of Krishna himself. Who's the expansion of Krishna himself in Krishna Lila? His name starts with a B. Balaram. I'm asking the little girl. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda. And then there's Sri Advaita. Who is Sri Advaita? Do you know who is Sri Advaita? Do you know who is the creator of the universe, who manifested so many universes through the breathing of his transcendental body? It starts with a V. Vishnu, yes. But he's Mahavishnu is Advaita Acharya. And now we're going to go the other direction. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar. So there's Radharani. She's on the left side of Krishna always. So Gadadhar is on the left side of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So what does that mean? Gadadhar is the manifestation of Radharani in Lord Chaitanya's Leela. And then the last one, not the least one, but the last one is Srivas. And Srivas is a manifestation of Jiva Tattva. So Vishnu Tattva, Vishnu Tattva, Vishnu Tattva, Shakti Tattva, Jiva Tattva. Srivas. So Srivas in Navadvip was a Brahmana, very respected Brahmana. And he had one of those arrangements that many people in Bengal have. He lived in an extended family situation. There was like many Srivases, relatives, under one big house. And he had a big gate. And so to keep people out, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed to only qualified, this is in the beginning, only qualified people should or could come in. And the Brahmanas, who were envious, they didn't let them in. And that irritated them even more because they're excluding us. So what did they do? They went and complained to the Qazi. Envy. They're spoiling our Hinduism. Do something. You're the Qazi, you're in charge. You know what happened? They broke their drum. You know what happened? Lord Chaitanya went civil disobedience all day long, all night long, to every marketplace in the whole of Navadvip, and ended up at the home of Chand Kazi with 10,000 angry Bengalis. Look out. So that pastime that just preceded the starting of the Sankirtan every evening at the house of Srivas preceded the evening before was Lord Chaitanya getting on the shoulders of this devotee of Lord Shiva that was singing and dancing, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became ecstatic and got up on his shoulders and started singing with him, and then regained his composure and decided, tomorrow let's start Sankirtan. It's significant. It's spiritually significant. Another place where the interaction of Lord Shiva and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is indicated is in this section of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 3, begins with what you see. There was a king, King Nimi, who wanted to perform a Vedic sacrifice, the previous age, Vedic sacrifice. And there you see the Brahmanas, there you see the fire, there's the king seated on his throne, and there's the ministers and everybody. And all of a sudden, as the yajna was beginning, from the sky came these 9 effulgent personalities, qualified like Narada Muni. At least Narada has a veena. They didn't even have a veena. They could travel anywhere they liked because they had this mystic power. And they just descended upon the yajna. The king stopped the yajna. Once the yajna starts, you don't stop. Like when you're chanting Gayatri, you don't stop. You complete Gayatri. Unless the house is on fire, then you might stop. But otherwise, just by rule, you don't stop. So you don't stop yajnas, but he stopped the yajna. And now he stopped the yajna. He stood up with folded palms. He offered prayers of greetings. I don't know who you personalities are, but you're effulgent, and you're obviously your most elevated persons. I have these burning questions. May I ask you burning questions, 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 questions? And one by one, the Nava Yogendras gave responses to his questions. And one of the questions he wanted the answer to was, who are the avatars for each of the 4 yugas? That was one of his questions. And when it got to describing the Kali Yuga avatar, that's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shiva Varinchi Nutam Sharanyam was the answer. That Lord is, his lotus feet are the shelter of all holy places and of all saintly authorities in the line of devotional service, and are honored by the powerful demigods like Lord Shiva and Brahma. So there are some interactions between Lord Shiva and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in anticipation of Gaura Purnima. There's others. And his interactions with Krishna are much more abundant. There's a section of Mahabharata where Maharaj Yudhisthira is having a discussion with Bhishma Dev. Now, usually Bhishma Dev, grandfather Bhishma, is instructing the Pandavas. But in this particular discussion, Yudhisthira is commenting to Bhishma Dev, in all of the universes, the only person who understands Lord Shiva is Lord Krishna. So in case you don't understand Lord Shiva, you're one of all the rest of us. During Krishna's childhood pastimes, when he was living in Vrindavan, the family residence was Nandagram. As you know, Krishna was born where? Mathura. And at midnight, Krishna assumed a childlike form from the Vasudeva Krishna form. And before he did that, he requested Vasudeva, to carry him to the other side of the river Jamuna, where he stayed for 3 years, 4 months, and then there were too many demons. So they had a village elder conference over there in Gokul and decided too many demons, let's move. So they went to 3 places. One of those places was Chhattikar, and another place was a place called it's a 1-syllable word. I forget the name. Unusual sounding name. Dig. And then one other place, and then finally Nanda Maharaj shifted back to his ancestral home. They shifted from his ancestral home means it wasn't just he built a house on top of a hill. It was inherited by Nanda through the ages and ages and ages. They left, he and his dear friend Vrishabhanu, they left because there were no children. They decided, let's go to a different place and maybe there'll be children. So that's why they went to Gokul. And then they went back. And there is, at the top of the hill, that's Nandagram. And here's a modern photograph of what Nandagram looks like. And if you look closely, there's 3 domes, correct? And one of those 3 domes, the one on the left, is a dome for a temple of Lord Shiva. Yeah, Kamyavan was the 3rd place. So Gokul, then Chattikar, Dig, then Kamyavan, then finally back to Nandagram. And so the dome on the left of those 3 domes, the one in the center, that's where there's the deities of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda and small Krishna, not baby Krishna, but small Krishna. And the dome on the left is a dome for a temple of Lord Shiva. And it's in the courtyard, protecting Nandeshwara Mahadev. He protects Nandagaon. And he receives, by tradition, whatever is offered to the deity of Krishna, he receives those remnants. And there's a very nice history connected with this. The nice history connected with this is that when Krishna appeared, Lord Shiva came to know that Krishna had appeared. So he came looking like Lord Shiva looks like, soiled and snakes around his neck and looking a little strange. And he came to Mother Yashoda saying he wanted to see her small child. And she wasn't really sure what to do, but she didn't want him to see. Maybe he would cast a spell or who knows what. And so she sent him away. And when she sent him away, he went away to the bottom of Nanda Maharaj's hill, Nandagram. And Krishna started crying. And it wasn't, it was one of those crying that it was really loud, and he wouldn't eat, and he was carrying on. And she felt it's because I've offended a Brahmana, because he looked so strange. I didn't want him even seeing Krishna, but I've offended a Brahmana. And then Nanda Maharaj saw Krishna in this condition, and he said, I'm going to find that Brahmana and go and appeal to the Brahmana. So to forgive my wife and do whatever he wanted to make up for the offense. So he just wanted to see Krishna. And then he made a specific request. In addition to seeing Krishna, he wanted the remnants of Krishna's prasad. And so at the bottom of that hill, on the top of the hill, there's this deity. You saw the form of Lord Shiva. And at the bottom, is this other temple, still there today, Asheshwara Mahadev. And inside, this is from the back of the deity, that's Asheshwara Mahadev. So it's showing a cobra leaning over a Shivalinga with the children of Lord Shiva circumambulating around him. There's Nandi, and there's Kartikeya, etc. Ganesh. There's some ISKCON devotees joining a parikrama. Here's the front view. And over to the side of this nice little temple is a deity of Gopeshwara Mahadev, right at Nandagram. Now there's another place where there's a Gopeshwara Mahadev temple. Where's that other place? In Vrindavan. Gopeshwara Mahadev. Who's been to Vrindavan? Who knows? Vangsivat. What's Vangsivat? It's a place where Krishna played upon his Vangsi, the Vasant Rasalila. He played upon his Vangsi and the gopis came. And they were engaged at Vangsivat in rasa dance. And Lord Shiva, this is described in Garga Samhita. Lord Shiva had a friend. He had many friends. And this friend was Asuri, not Asura, but Asuri Muni. And Asuri Muni was meditating on the form of Radha and Krishna within his heart, and meditating and meditating and meditating. And the place where he was doing this meditation was in Badrinath. And guess what? A number of us are going to be going to Badrinath. I just got a number of how many people registered for the Badrinath Yatra. 557 people have registered to go to Badrinath. And that's just the early birds. So it's going to be an interesting yatra, I'll tell you. And like a special for me and for those who come, Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj is going to be with us. And those of you that don't know him, you're unfortunate, but if you come, you'll become fortunate because he's a very special person. I'll just leave it at that. And he's been there many times. So we have been together many times in Vrindavan, at Vrindavan Yatras. And he pulled me to the side and said, one day, you got to go to Badrinath. And I had some idea what was there, but I knew that he knew what was there because he had been there several times. I said, if I go, will you go with me? He said, yes. So he's coming with us. It took a while to schedule when it would work because he's got a busy schedule, but he's going to be with us. And Asuri Muni was meditating on Radha Krishna at Badrinath, at the Narayana ashram. Now in Badri Narayana, the form of Radha Krishna are not there. So he went to different places searching for Radha Krishna. He went to the Loka mountain. That's described by in the 5th canto Bhagavatam, part of Vedic cosmology. He went to where Lord Shesha is at the bottom of the universe. He went to Sweta Dweep in the Milk Ocean, the pole star, way up upper regions of the universe. He had an uncanny ability to travel where he liked, and no matter where he went to Vaikuntha. He saw Lakshmi Narayan. He went to Goloka Vrindavan in the spiritual world. He couldn't find Radha Krishna. So he met up with Lord Shiva and they said, I think I know where to find him. He's somewhere in the earthly realm. So together, Lord Shiva from Kailash, who was in deep meditation upon Krishna, the two of them went to visit Krishna in Vrindavan during his earthly pastimes. And it just happened they came at the time there was rasa dance, so it was Radha Krishna. and they wanted to have darshan. However, when they went in the area of the rasa dance, they were stopped. Sorry, Charlie. You can't even see the rasa dance as long as you're in a male form. Boo! We came all this way, and they're doing rasa dance. They said, we have a solution for you. We're going to take you, if you want, we'll take you to Mana Sarovar. You take a transcendental bath in Mana Sarovar, and you'll be awarded gopi forms. So that's what they did. And they both came out of Mana Sarovar in gopi forms. So they were then taken to rasa dance. When Krishna saw the Shivaji as a gopi at the rasa dance at Vangshivat, he said, "Oh, you're a very strong gopi. Why don't you guard the rasa dance so that unqualified people cannot enter?" So that's what he does. And at Vangshivat, there's this murti of Lord Shiva in a gopi form, guarding the rasa dance at Vangshivat. And very near, there's a temple. This is an artist depiction of Lord Shiva in the feature of a gopi. So during the daytime, this Gopeshwara Mahadev looks like a regular Shivalinga, and then at night, they decorate the Shivalinga like this. So it's because that's when the rasa dance takes place, it's in the night. Interactions between Krishna and Lord Shiva. Here's another one. A whole chapter in 10th Canto Bhagavatam, chapter 34, is on the occasion of Shiva Ratri. And Nanda Maharaj, the elder of the Vrindavan cowherdmen, he decided, it's Shiva Ratri, let's make a pilgrimage to Ambika Vana, and we'll go to Ambika Vana and worship Lord Shiva. You see in the background, there's a deity of Lord Shiva. And what happened was, when they got there after worshiping Lord Shiva, it was late at night. And so their village cowherd men, they just rolled out their straw mat, no sleeping bags, and they took rest. While they were taking rest, this giant serpent started swallowing Nanda Maharaj from his feet, heading up. And Nanda Maharaj woke up, needless to say, and he called out. And when he called out, the other elders from the cowherd village, they saw there were sticks that were still burning from a fire, and they took the sticks and were whacking. You see in the painting. The serpent, nothing happened, nothing happened, nothing happened. The serpent kept swallowing Nanda Maharaj. So what did they do? Krishna. Krishna smiled, and he came, and he placed his foot on the head of the serpent. And as soon as he placed his head on the foot, he put his foot on the head of the serpent, from the serpent's body came this celestial being who was a Vidyadhara, who was named Sudarshana. Sudarshana had received a curse. Vidyadhara, there's different regions, and it's in the Bhuvar Loka region. So above earth, but below heaven. Bhuvar Svarga. In the Bhuvar Loka region, there's many beings. They're not demigods, but they're far more gifted and powerful, etc., than humans or anyone on Bhu Mandala. The Kinnaras, the Yakshas, Gandharvas, etc., Vidyadharas. It's in this intermediate region. So he, Sudarshana, had offended some brahmanas. There's details that are given in this chapter, and they cursed him. You're envious. You become a serpent in the earthly realm. And so he became a serpent in the earthly realm. And Krishna delivered him. You know, the circumstance was the serpent was devouring Nanda Maharaj. Here's another nice painting. There's Krishna stepping on his body, and the Vidyadhar came out. Sudarshana offered prayers to Krishna. He begged permission that he could return to Vidyadhar Aloka, and Nanda Maharaj was rescued on the occasion of Shiva Ratra. There you see the Shiva temple in the background. That was chapter 34 of Canto 10. Chapter 63 of Canto 10 is a description of Krishna engaged in a fight with Banasura. Who's Banasura? Banasura was the eldest son of Bali Maharaj. Who was Bali Maharaj? He's one of our great Mahajans, correct? There are 12 Mahajans, and he's one of them. But Bali Maharaj was born in a Daitya family. Bali Maharaj was the son of whom? Virochana. Who was Virochana the son of? Okay, but Prahlad was in a bad family, but Prahlad was the exception. Bali was the exception, but his son, Bana, was in the Daitya mood. So, Banasura, the eldest of 100 sons of Bali Maharaj, was a great worshipper of Lord Shiva. And one of the things that he did after undergoing great austerities, he was asked, what benediction would you like? He said, I would like 1,000 arms so I can play drums. So while you dance, you can be in ecstasy while you dance. I'd like to do some service for you, which is a nice gesture. So he's given many arms. And the painting is showing Lord Shiva dancing on top of Mount Kailash. At least that's what the artist was intending to do. And there's Banasura performing musical instruments with his 1,000 arms while Lord Shiva is dancing. So he's a great devotee of Lord Shiva. After this musical performance where Lord Shiva is dancing, Lord Shiva was very pleased and said, what additional benediction would you like? And this one wasn't so nice. The additional benediction he wanted was, you please guard my capital city. Because Vamana guarded the capital city of Bali, and his father was Bali, so you guard my capital city, please. A little puffed up. Bali didn't ask. Vamana volunteered. Anyway, Banasura is Banasura. So he was very intoxicated with his strength. One day, proud. Here's this little girl. Do you like math? Yeah, in school. Do you take math? You like here's a math equation. Over here. Fruits of piety plus a heart that's impure equals blank. Fruits of piety. What's our fruits of piety? Strength is one of them. Beauty, knowledge, fame, renunciation. There's opulences that come with piety. Plus a heart that's impure, because many people that do piety, they don't necessarily become pure, but they become what? proud. You follow? Fruits of piety. Somebody's pious. They do, and they do, and they do whatever it is that they do that's pious. And they get fruits of piety. But if their heart has not yet become purified, guaranteed pride. Always. And pride is so nasty. Anything that's good becomes destroyed by pride. Beware of pride, everybody. Beware. Very dangerous, toxic, destructive, explosive, dangerous. So Bana had all this opulence and he was proud. So one time he said to Lord Shiva, you know what? I've got all these arms and all this strength, but I can't find anybody to have battle with. Can I have battle with you? Lord Shiva could understand. He'd given the arms and given the strength and given whatever he had, and he wants to use them against him. It's like Vrikasura, right? So he said, Lord Shiva became angry. It wasn't a curse, it was a prediction. Your flag, your military strength shown by a flag, will be broken, fool. When you have done battle with one who is my equal, who's Shiva's equal, more than equal, Krishna, that fight will vanquish your conceit or pride. This is right in this chapter of the 10th canto. So to himself, Lord Shiva was thinking, it would be improper for me to kill my servant. But because he's so foolish, he who has received my mercy thinks his mighty 1,000 arms to be a burden, then my master, who relieves the world of its burden, will indeed take away his burden. Some time passed. Very intriguing story. Banasura had a daughter, and he named the daughter Usha. And Usha, in her dreams, she started dreaming of a young, beautiful male coming to visit her in her dreams. And it was a recurring dream. And of course, she was attracted, but she was also curious. Who's this person that keeps coming? I've never met them, but they keep coming and they keep coming and they keep coming in my dreams. Here's the painting. It's Aniruddha. So, who was Krishna's first queen? This little girl. Krishna's first queen starts with an R. Rukmini. And the first son born of Krishna and Rukmini starts with a P. Pradyumna, right. And their first son, Pradyumna married, and Pradyumna's first son starts with an A. Aniruddha. So Aniruddha is the son of Pradyumna, who is the son of Krishna and Rukmini. So Aniruddha is the one in her dream, but she didn't know who it was. And it's only a dream, but he kept coming again and again and again. So Usha privately disclosed her dream to her dear confidential friend. When you have something like this, you got to tell a confidential person. So she told Chitralekha. Now Chitralekha had many gifts. One of those gifts is Chitra Lekha. She was good at chitra. She was good at drawing. So she had the capacity to envision the forms of many significant people. Vrishnis, Shurasena, Anakunda Dubi, Balaram, and Krishna. And she made paintings of these persons and showed them to Usha. Not one of them. Some of them were close, but that wasn't the same. But when she showed her the painting of Aniruddha. That's him. So next, you see in this nice painting, there's two doves. Nice painting. And so Chitralekha, in addition to being good at making drawings, she had mystic powers. She could travel wherever she wanted. Mystic power. She didn't need a magic carpet, she just traveled. She didn't need a Veena, she just traveled. So she went all the way to Dwarka. And when she went to Dwarka, she was looking for Aniruddha. But when she got to Dwarka, she wasn't able to enter Dwarka because there's a special process for entering Dwarka. So when she got to Dwarka, she met Narada Muni, and Narada Muni told her the mystic art of entering Dwarka. Narada Muni's a conspirator. And so with that password or whatever it was, mystic art to enter Dwarka, she entered Dwarka. The commentary says that some authorities say that Chitralekha is an expansion of Yogamaya, but not everyone says that. Some say like that. So at night, she entered Dwarka. She found Pradyumna's son Aniruddha sleeping where everyone else is sleeping, and she found him. And I can't find that painting. There's a painting where she's carrying. If anyone finds that painting, send it to me. In a drawing of Chitralekha carrying the sleeping Aniruddha in her arms, all the way back to the capital of Banasura, and she places Aniruddha in the inner chambers, Shonitapura. Here's your boyfriend. And sure enough, that was him. Now, in Vedic culture, the ladies' chambers are in the inner portion of a house, no men allowed. They don't have to put up signs or anything. It's just like that's the culture. And men are outside protecting, and ladies are the inside protected. But there's Aniruddha in her chambers. And as time passed, due to their amorous dealings with one another, the maid servants came to notice she has marks on her body as if something's going on. And so they told the 1,000 arms Banasura, something's going on. You better go check out your daughter. So he went to check out his daughter, and sure enough, there was Aniruddha. He was furious. Now, Banasura is very strong. In addition to having arms, he's very strong. And he had, as you see, in the painting is showing, he has this Naga Pasha, a mystic weapon that he used. There was a big battle because Aniruddha is very powerful. Aniruddha is one of the 4 of the Chaturvyuha forms. What are those 4? Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. And amongst them, he's particularly known for being very good in military skill. Aniruddha is good. And he's in his Vishnu Tattva category. So who can defeat a Vishnu Tattva category, even if you're Banasura with a Pashupat Naga Pashu weapon? But arrangements were such that by Krishna's Yogamaya potency, he was arrested. Aniruddha was arrested. He didn't kill him, but he put him in jail. Bad. A messenger from Sonitapura went back to Dwarka and informed Krishna that his grandson Aniruddha is in prison in Sunitapura. Narada is the one that brought the news. Narada has this special way of doing things. So Krishna became disturbed, and he arranged that the entire Vrishni army go to attack Sunitapura. And they surrounded the city of Sunitapura along with Balaram and Krishna and their entire army. That means war. And they wanted one thing, just the release of Aniruddha. 12 divisions completely started attacking the city from all sides. Banasura called his lord, Shiva, to come and help. So he came, Lord Shiva riding on the back of Nandi. According to this chapter of the Bhagavatam, he brought many with him, including his son Kartikeya, and I had to look up what pramatas means, so there's a little asterisk. Pramatas means powerful mystics. They can assume different forms and so on, and they were part of this army that Lord Shiva brought with him. And so there's a big, big battle. There's a nice painting of the big, big battle. During that big, big battle, the two, Banasura and Krishna, squared off. And there are many things that happened. Lord Shiva was hit with a yawn weapon. They didn't defeat him, so it wouldn't have to harm him or anything. He just got sleepy. And Krishna was directly fighting Banasura, and with his Sudarshan chakra, he began chopping off the arms of Banasura. Lord Shiva came to ask Krishna to not kill his devotee, Banasura. Here's from that chapter. You alone are the absolute truth, the supreme light, the mystery hidden within the verbal manifestations of the absolute. Those whose hearts are spotless can see you, for you are uncontaminated like the sky. It's a nice painting, isn't it? You are the original person, one without a second, transcendental and self-manifesting, uncaused. You're the cause of all. And you are the ultimate controller. You are nonetheless perceived in terms of the transformations of matter effected by your illusory energy, transformations you sanction, so that the various material qualities can become fully manifest. So Lord Shiva understands Krishna, and Krishna understands Lord Shiva. And the rest of us are kind of out to lunch. We have something of an idea, but not the full idea. Let us worship you, the Supreme Lord, to be freed from material life. You are the maintainer of the universe and the cause of its creation and demise. Equipoised and perfectly at peace, you are the true friend, self, and worshipable Lord. You are one without a second, the shelter of all the worlds and all souls. So he's speaking truth. These are Sambandha Gyan, knowledge of the truths of Krishna and his relationship with all things. And he clearly understands. And, the punchline is, please spare the life of my devotee. And Krishna acknowledges, I had no intention of killing him because he's your dear devotee. And so I've cut off all but 4 of his arms. But he, Banasura, now with 4 instead of so many arms, can serve you peacefully, freed from the pride of being so powerful. I just wanted to curb his pride and have him again reinstated in a submissive position unto you. So that's what happened. Thus, attaining freedom from fear, Banasura offered obeisances to Lord Krishna by touching his head to the ground. Bana then seated Aniruddha and his bride, that's Usha, on their chariot and brought them before the Lord. So he was released from prison, and they had a very nice wedding ceremony, and Aniruddha and Usha went back to Dwarka to live happily ever after. Now, there's another nice reference, and this is found in Brihat Bhagavatamrita. For those of you that are a little newer, what's Brihat Bhagavatamrita? It's a very fascinating, very high level, but very sweet. You can describe it as a commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam, and it's in two parts. And the second of the two parts, the first of the two parts, this is a painting where Narada Muni is on a quest. The quest is, who is the greatest recipient of the mercy of the Supreme Lord? That's the quest. And he goes to one, he goes to another, goes to the next. The one that says, no, no, not me, go to that one, go to that one, go to that one. So when he goes to Lord Shiva, reference is made. This is commentary on this little history. Bana was a cause of trouble for saintly persons. Too proud of the strength of his arms, he used magic to arrest Aniruddha and fight against Krishna, the wielder of the disc. When you, Lord Shiva, saw that Bana, your devotee, whom you had maintained like a son, was on the verge of being killed, to save his life, you offered prayers to Sri Hari, which is true. At once, Lord Krishna put aside his anger. Now, please, the Lord gave Bana a form like his own and raised him to being one of your associates, a position rarely obtained even by demigods. A gift of Krishna to the devotee of Bana, because Lord Shiva is very dear to Krishna. Today, this is Narada to Lord Shiva. I have finally seen your amazing, uncontrollable eagerness to serve the Supreme Lord in pure devotion. No wonder Lord Krishna always loves you the most. Krishna's love for you is never interrupted. By your mercy, many others have become dear to him. You become dear to one who is dear to Krishna, you become dear to Krishna. Unless there's a misunderstanding of who Shiva is, and then you do your math wrong. You get 2 + 2 = 5. 2 + 2 is 4, right? Yeah. Not 3, it's 4. So those who become factually dear to Lord Shiva become dear to Krishna. But then one has to have, you have to have the proper GPS in your system. You have to know the destination, and then you can get there. That's why the scripture is there. Srila Prabhupada speaks about Lord Shiva and Krishna in a lecture 1992, Bhubaneswar. Bhubaneswar, again, we mentioned, this is a place where there's many, many, many temples of Lord Shiva. Many temples of Lord Shiva. Prabhupada visited there. His is taken from his lecture. Many times Krishna saved Shiva Ji from dangers. There's always fighting between the demons and the demigods. Sometimes the demons achieve victory, sometimes the demigods achieve victory. Being harassed by the demigods, the demons once went to Maya Danava. The demons went to Maya Danava and took shelter of him. Being a great mystic, Maya Danava created 3 residences that were like 3 big airplanes made of gold, silver, and iron. And all the demons took shelter there. Thus the demons became unconquerable, and the demigods were defeated. The demigods took shelter of Lord Shiva. Shiva took up his bow and arrow and fought vigorously against the demons and killed many of them. There's a name for Lord Shiva. What's that name for Lord Shiva? Triparasura, right? You know that name? He killed, he defeated these three cities that were created by, like flying airplanes, created by Mayadanava. Then Mayadanava created a big pot of heavenly nectar. Whatever demons were killed by Shiva, Mayadanava was bringing them and putting them in the pot of nectar, and they again became alive. The more Shivaji was killing them, the more they were all again coming alive. Shiva found himself helpless. What should I do? Shiva was in danger. Then Lord Krishna thought, oh, my dear devotee is in danger. I shall help him. Krishna then assumed the form of a cow and made Brahmaji a calf. Both of them went at noontime to that big pot of nectar and drank all of it. There were security guards guarding the pot, but they said a cow and a calf are pure. They should not be killed. By Krishna's Daivi Maya, his energy, they became enchanted. There's a painting, the two, cow and calf, and the demons didn't check them because they're cow and a calf. Then Shivaji killed the demons, and the demigods became victorious. In this way, Shivaji was protected by Krishna. Then Lord Shiva destroyed the three cities created by Mayadanava, thus his name Tripurari. Interaction, this is the topic. Interaction between Lord Shiva. Now, the tattva, going back to the beginning, Shiva tattva is very complex. So we skip that one, but you can read it in your own leisure. Adi Leela, chapter 6, text number 79. In Mahabharata, there's a description, and there's a nice painting of that description, where Lord Krishna worshipped Lord Shiva, praying for a son to be born from his wife Jambavati. And there was a son born named Samba. And there's a very nice description. Here's a nice description from Antya Leela, Srimad Bhagavat, or Chaitanya Bhagavat. Now the commentary here is Bhakti Siddhanta. Bhakti Siddhanta is Prabhupada's guru, right? Okay. Here's a nice explanation. We're almost done. There's a few more slides. The reason why Lord Vishnu sometimes displays the pastime of worshipping Rudra is described in the scriptures as follows, because sometimes we find that. Siddhanta Ratna, third pada, these texts. By displaying the pastimes of worshipping his own form as Rudra, Lord Vishnu taught the worship of Rudra is not to his sincere devotees, but to the insincere living entities who desire religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. This fact has been confirmed by the Lord himself when he spoke in the Narayaniya to Arjuna as follows. O Arjuna, I am the soul of the universe. My worship of Rudra is worship of my own self. Whatever I do, common people follow. Examples set by me should be followed. That is why I worship Rudra. Vishnu does not offer obeisances to any demigod. I worship Rudra, considering him to be my own self. I am the indwelling supersoul of the entire universe. I worship my own partial expansion, Rudra, who is not different from me, as molten iron is not different from fire. I have set the standard that the demigods headed by Rudra should be worshipped. If I did not set the example of worshiping Rudra, then people would not follow that standard. Therefore, I teach the worship of my servants through my personal behavior. There is no one greater than or equal to me. Therefore, since I am the greatest, I do not worship anyone. But since Rudra is my partial expansion, I display the example of worshiping Rudra and other demigods to teach ordinary people, unquote. In this connection, Brahma told Rudra that Vishnu alone is the supersoul of everyone, including Brahma and Rudra. He said, this is Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu is the supersoul of you, me, and all other embodied living entities. No one can restrict him within the confines of their mundane knowledge. Clear? If there's questions, we can take questions later. It's a little different, but it's quite similar. In Jiva Goswami's commentary for Paramatma Sandarbha, what are the Sandarbhas? There's 6 Sandarbhas. Shiva Goswami wrote 4 different commentaries on Srimad Bhagavatam. He likes Srimad Bhagavatam. And one of them is in 6 parts called Sandarbhas. Sandarbha is a particular literary style. One of them is Paramatma Sandarbha, one of the 6. It's a commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam. So in that commentary, he narrates a Puranic story where there was a Vaishnava Brahmana named Vishvadeva. And Vishvadeva was traveling from place to place, worshiping Vishnu because he's a Vaishnava, and giving teachings of Vishnu Bhakti. One time he went to a kingdom where there was a king who had a Shivalinga, and the king requested, Vishvadeva, I have a Shivalinga. Can you worship my Shivalinga? And Vishvadeva said, I worship Vishnu only. Find someone who likes to worship Shiva and they can worship for you. The son of the king was arrogant and he immediately drew his sword and he was ready to cut off Vishvadeva's head. Vishvadeva thought, better to worship Lord Shiva than have my head cut off. So he agreed. So they took him to where the Shivalinga was and he worshipped the Shivalinga. And at the end of his worship, he said audibly, O Lord Nrsingadev, please accept my worship. The son of the king heard this, and he pulled his sword again and was ready to chop his head off. And Vishvadeva then said to the deity, O Lord Nrsingadev, please protect me. And Lord Nrsingadev burst out of the Shivalinga and finished that miscreant son and all of his friends right before everybody. And the explanation given by Jiva Goswami is, the Lord assumes a form according to the worshipper's submission to him. In that section of Paramatma Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami goes way out on a limb and says, according to scripture, he quotes scripture, one can even worship a blade of grass, provided they see within that blade of grass there's Paramatma. They can become a purified Vaishnava, seeing within that blade of grass there's Paramatma. And there is, but most people can't see that. But the point is, the Lord reciprocates with the mood with which we worship him, which is what's being described here on the screen here. And some of you may know from Mahabharata, again, we're almost done, there's a description of a battle between Arjuna and a forest-dwelling hunter. The forest-dwelling hunter had a name. His name in the Mahabharata is Kirata. So one day, when Arjuna was in the forest, it's in Vana Parva, he was in the forest, and he saw a wild boar. And he drew his bow and shot the wild boar with his arrow. Simultaneously, Kirata shot the wild boar with his arrow. And then they had this little disagreement about who that wild boar belonged to. And Arjuna said, "Excuse me, but I shot him." And the hunter said, "Excuse me, but I shot him. And if you want him, you're going to have to do battle with me." It was Lord Shiva in the disguise of a hunter. So battle and battle and battle and battle and battle. The boar was a Rakshasa in disguise. There was this verbal exchange between the two. "You're overly proud of your strength. Do not accuse others when you yourself are at fault. Oh, wicked-minded wretch, you have wronged me and will therefore not escape with your life. Stand and receive my arrows. Try to defend yourself if you can." So they had this many day and at night they didn't fight. But Kirata, the hunter, was fighting with Arjuna, and neither could defeat the other one. And at the end, Lord Shiva revealed, "I'm not a hunter, I'm Lord Shiva. You please me very much. You please me very much by this wonderful battle skills that you have. Ask me for some benediction." So he, Arjuna, requested Lord Shiva for his celestial arrows. And immediately the celestial arrows are produced. And not only the celestial arrows are produced, but that Arjuna even asked for his Pashupat weapon, which was useful later during the Mahabharata war. Now, the section of Mahabharata that precedes this is Indra is the father of Arjuna. Is that right? I'm asking your son. Yes? Yeah, okay. So Arjuna asked Indra for his celestial weapons. Indra said, "I'll give you my celestial weapons after you have battle with Lord Shiva," and he gives you his celestial weapons. Then I'll give you mine too. So he's loaded up with celestial weapons, including the Pashupata weapon, which was useful during the Mahabharata war. In the next Parva, called Drona Parva, there's a nice painting that shows the same thing, where Arjuna, accompanied by Krishna, received Shiva's Pashupat weapon. Somehow he received it twice. So there's Krishna receiving, and there's Arjuna with him receiving Lord Shiva's weapons. And here's a very nice painting of Krishna. And according to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, what's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu? Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is a book written by Rupa Goswami about Bhakti Rasa. And in that book, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, there's a description: seeing the moon-like face of Hari, radiating sweetness as he practiced his flute playing, Lord Shiva began to tremble and began to dance in the sky, along with Ganesh, to the rhythm of his drum. And on earth, Radha was first adored by the humans on the advice of Lord Shiva. This is Brahma Vaivarta Purana. Reference is made to Brahma Vaivarta Purana by Rupa Goswami, focusing on Shiva and his interaction with Krishna and Radha. And two more slides and we're done. This is from Radha Kripa Kataksha Saba Raja, composed by Lord Shiva. It's from a nice text. It's Appeal to Srimati Radharani by Lord Shiva. And finally, there's a Krishna Kripa Kataksha Stotram, again from one of those tantras. It's a poetic prayer by Lord Shiva to Krishna. So to Radha and to Krishna by Lord Shiva, honoring both of them. Mahashiva Ratri ki jai. And Wednesday we're going to discuss Lord Shiva's interactions with two other personalities, two other divine personalities, Lord Ramachandra and Lord Sankarshan. And it's going to be shorter, but it's also very sweet. So aside from the tattva and his 8 different residences and so many complexities, that the interactions between Lord Shiva and the Supreme Lord are very sublime and transcendental. So I don't know if there's any questions in all of this besides, wow, that was interesting. Any discussion? Yes. 2. Wow. Okay.
Thank you, Maharaj, for this wonderful class. My first question is, in the very beginning, you mentioned when the Muni went to Vrindavan, in Goloka Vrindavan, they couldn't find Radha Krishna. But we also have understanding that Radha Krishna never lived Vrindavan.
Yeah.
So was that a pastime or?
Yes, a pastime. I mean, they don't hang up a sign saying, we went to Earth and check back when we come back again when my earthly pastimes, because his pastimes continue. But he couldn't find. He never left, but he couldn't find.
And my second question is, as ISKCON devotees, how should we observe Shiva Ratri as far as fasting goes, and what activities need to be done that day?
It varies. Different persons do different things, even on, Vishnu Tattva days or our great Acharya's appearance days and so forth. So different things are done. Now, specifically, fasting and what else? So, for example, I was just in Houston before coming here, and what they did was they had a Pushpa Abhishek, that is, the whole congregation came before a large painting or poster of Lord Shiva and offered flowers and paid obeisances. So it's just honor. Now, one can do other things. One can sing, one can recite, one can remember, one can offer prayers. There's not in Hari Bhakti Vilas, I'm not aware, it may be there, I'm not aware of what it says, what a Vaishnava should do on Shiva Ratri. But those are some of the things that a Vaishnava can do, an ISKCON Vaishnava can do. Stories of, prayers about, prayers by, that which is in relation to Lord Shiva and his associates.
And the fasting, can it be done or regular fasting, or does it have to be, because we also understand Sada Siva, Vishnu Tattva.
Yeah, that's a whole other topic. When it's Mahashivaratri, and I know, and most people don't know, that one of the complexities of Lord Shiva is a feature of Lord Shiva that's in the Vishnu Tattva category. We know the Lord Shiva, who is the transformation of, like milk with a souring agent becomes dahi. That's our Brahma Samhita reference. So that's sufficient for largely. And when one becomes more refined and more refined and more refined, one can understand the complexity a little bit better. But, to keep it simple, that Brahma Samhita verse is a nice one as the frame of reference for us. You and me, and when we speak publicly, or converse publicly. It's on that topic. Then it depends on who you're with and what what topics you might want to discuss.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for the class. So when there was that verse or story about how Lord Krishna worships Lord Shiva as a great devotee, as a partial part of himself, in the same way, how come as Vaishnavas we don't, take part the worship of Shiva as a great devotee, as we would do, some of our acharyas and some of the great devotees in our
We can do
lineage.
that. We can do that. But we don't do that largely because there's a whole entourage of people that don't see that way. So they'll see us doing this and they'll think that. It's one of the reasons. Now, I say it, this was the Houston temple. There are maybe 250 people in the temple, and there's a big picture of Lord Shiva. But, he's not on the altar. He's got a big picture of Lord Shiva over here in Shiva Ratra, and we offer flowers explicitly. The MC is because he's Vaishnavana Shambhu. So it's calibrating according to the audience, largely. So what you do and what I do and what we do sets a standard. Now, that little reference that we read is not the essential reference. It's how to understand when Krishna does this, how to process that. And so that's the answer given by Bhakti Siddhanta in his commentary. So now you're back to your question. Why don't we? Because there would be misunderstanding. Although we say Vaishnavana Shambhu, it's right in the Bhagavatam, we don't apparently, externally at least, do that. So why don't we do that? We should do that. It would make sense. So I've explained why we don't do that. It would be misunderstood. And so we do it a different way. We do it in a Vaishnava way, in a Vaishnava Sangha, like we're doing right now. We're all Vaishnavas. And we're glorifying Lord Shiva. And there's 6 parts. I'm going to be doing 2 parts. It would take 6 hours to do the other parts. So there's a place for it, but audience specific and understanding specific, because otherwise there's misunderstanding and people get on board with misunderstanding real easily. That's why.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, all the way in the back.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for the wonderful class. The question I had was on the pastime of Asuri Muni.
Yes.
So Lord Shiva got in the rasa dance. Did Asuri Muni also get to see?
Yeah, he got to see, but it doesn't give much information about what happened. He got a gopi body, but we don't hear too much about what he did after that. But it's it's in the scriptural source I showed you. It's Garga Samhita, and it doesn't say much after. He went all over the place, searching for Radha Krishna, and finally he got his heart's desire, and then he got a gopi form so he could see the rasa dance. But it doesn't say beyond that what happened, which is what your question is.
Yes. Thank you, Maharaj.
Yes, up front.
Dandavad Pranam Maharaj. My son was asking me yesterday, or like a day before yesterday, about, he was asking who's bigger, Brahma or Mahadev. So I did not know the answer, so if you can help.
This other boy that was just here? Okay. Well, on the one hand and on the other hand. So, on the one hand, Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu. And on the other hand, Brahma is his father. Now, part of this complexity that when you go to Adi Leela, chapter 6, verse number 79, you'll find that sometimes Lord Shiva appears not just from the brow of Lord Shiva, from the brow of Lord Brahma, but from the brow of Lord Vishnu. So there's different days of Brahma. So that Shiva Tattva is above Jiva Tattva. It's in this other category. So he's not a Jiva, he's in his own Tattva. He's not Vishnu, but he's not a Jiva either. So in that sense, he's above. He's not bigger, but above. He's certainly in another Tattva, Shiva Tattva. And his likeness is compared to milk and dahi. So dahi is milk, product, but not milk. So it's in that sense, he's in a category different from Brahma. And then we'll go back the other way. He, Lord Shiva, and Brahma, they're both Guna avatars. They're avatars of Vishnu. So they're equal. So it depends on what lens you look through. But stepping back from some of that detail, and there's more detail, Lord Shiva is in the superior position. Generally speaking, he's considered, although he appears from the brow of Lord Brahma, he's in the superior position because of his tattva, in the likeness of Vishnu, but not Vishnu.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay.
Also, like Brahma is always in like a material world, but Shivji is in the spiritual realm.
Well, that's a whole other thing. That back to his question about, or comment about, there is an aspect of Lord Shiva that's in the Vishnu Tattva category. It's not dahi, it's milk. But that's part of Shiva Tattva. It's very complex.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay?
Maharaj,
Yes.
can I ask one more?
Yeah. You got the microphone. Go for it.
Like my Prabhu was asking about the whether he was as a gopi, was he able to participate or not? Similarly, Narad Muni also got the gopi roop. So was he able to participate?
Of course.
He was able to.
Oh, yes.
But he was sent to write the
Naradi. Narada became Naradi. Okay, pass the microphone.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, it is not of question, but I was
It's
thinking...
not on topic?
No, it is the same topic.
Same topic.
But I'm not asking a question.
You're making a comment.
I mean, I'm just sharing a
Okay.
little bit what
Okay.
I had to the same question that Naradi asked about Mahadev and Brahma. I was here. I was thinking because Mahadev took Gopeshwar Mahadev roop, and he's in Goloka. Goloka has the original Swarupa of Gopeshwar Mahadev. So how? I mean, do we consider that and compare Brahma, or we should not consider that? And
You lost me. Can you go back?
yes, Maharaj. Sorry.
We're in Goloka Vrindavan, right?
Yes, in Goloka Vrindavan, Mahadev took a Swarup of Gopeshwar Mahadev, right?
I don't know about that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's an assumption that I don't know about.
Okay, no problem, Maharaj. I just heard, so I thought.
It may be, may not be. I don't know. I can't verify or deny. I don't know.
No problem, Maharaj. Thank you. Thank you.
I would say be careful who you hear from. One can hear all kinds of interesting things. I won't name names, but some persons are very cavalier about saying things. And so be careful where you hear, connect it to what's the Shastra Praman for that, if you haven't heard it. So then ask for a Shastra Praman. Because otherwise your head will spin.
Actually, in Vrindavan, when we visited Gopeshwar Mahadev temple.
That's fine. But to say that Gopeshwara Mahadev is in Goloka, that's different. Huh? Goloka, to me, Goloka means before Krishna descends into this realm, there's the upper Goloka. You know that one. Now, there's the counterpart in this realm, but then there's the upper Goloka. So is Gopeshwara Mahadev there? I don't know. It's a bit of a stretch. More than a bit of a stretch. I would want to know the Shastra Praman for that one. Okay. Online? No. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. So when someone reaches Sadashiva Loka, what happens to them? Will they go to Goloka?
Oh, this is a
eventually?
very complicated. They always don't go to the same. There's no always. Sometimes and sometimes and sometimes. Again, there's 8 different. I'll point out one to you right now. There's Lord Shiva. Here's Lord Shiva. This is within the universe. Kailash is within the universe. And then beyond the universe, there's Mahesh Dham. See? Mahesh Dham. Devi Dham. You know the verse? Golokanamni nijadamni tale chatasya Devi Maheshu Haridhama Suteshu Teshu. So Mahesh Dham is in this region. There's the Mahatattva. There's Maya. There's Shambhu. And then there's Mahakala Dham, the region of darkness. You read about it in Brahma Samhita. The region of darkness, Mahakala Dham. And then there's a region of light called Sadashivaloka. If you read carefully, sometimes you don't read so carefully, sometimes you read carefully. There's a detailed description that those who wish to enter into the Brahmajyoti may go to this region, either the region of darkness or the region of light, but not the Brahmajyoti. Those who want to merge may go to this region, not to this region. It's complex. Welcome to spiritual teachings. It's not always a cookie cutter this. To keep it simple, those who are followers of Shankaracharya, they want this, but they may not go to this. They may go to this. Depends. And then there's Haridham. And way up here, In Haridham, look at this. There's Ayodhya Dham. That's the uppermost region of the Vaikuntha realm or Haridham. And then comes Golokadam, where there's Dwaraka, Puri, Mathura, and Goloka. Okay. I think we should end. Srila Prabhupada ki? Jai.
Holiness Prabhupada Maharaj.